weird few fucking days, I can tell you that. Oh, yeah, cold sore seems to be going away. Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down. Gonna help us put us under. Bad guys like to loot and plunder. Weird. People are gonna come here and be like, oh, this guy's talking about the same things again. Well, I'm sorry, until those things. By your powers combined, ich bin Captain Planet und ja. Oh shit. Whoopi Goldberg's the voice of Gaia. Oh man. Matt, good morning. How are you? What's on everybody's mind today? You know, I'm currently dealing with my oldest, you know, going through that next phase in life where you're like, yeah, you're cool and all, Dad, but I'd rather go do nothing with random people I don't know, I don't love, that don't love me. You know how we all do that. Better now I got 2 weeks off from work. Wow. How'd you manage that? Sounds pretty nice. That sounds planetastic. Built up paid time off. So what are you going to do with your time off? Yeah. I mean, I just, it's like, what else is there to talk about? Maxed it out. Cool. Cool. What else is there to talk about, guys? It just, you guys, I do think, I mean, it's all connected, but I really do think the underground shit is something we need to visit a friend 2 hours away and then exercise more. That sounds fantastically boring. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what your life consists of. Yeah. When you have nothing but craziness around you, not having it is fantastic. Although yesterday I could have had nobody home all day, and I chose to guilt my kid into staying home. It was good. What are we doing? I'm really hoping, like everybody that was here yesterday or whatever, that you guys went home and you watched, or you got off of here and you went and watched Hollywoodism. I see it. I see it everywhere. All just every day, everywhere. Every story that comes through, everything that's going on, it all just points to the same thing, and I just can't. Like I say, my life is like this weird Groundhog Day, right? Where I do this, and then throughout the day, I see little things and see all these stories that pop up and, show all these different examples of things. And then come nighttime, it's like, man, what is even going on? What are we even doing? Like, by the end of the day, I'm pissed, and I want to be rich, and I want to be, like, I'm so sick of being poor and living this fucking life and worrying about my car breaking down and worrying about this happening and that happening, And I think, man, how can I, I mean, I'm 46. I'm not going to make it anything anytime soon, but I just think about it all the time. Like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And I go to bed and I'm thinking about it. And by the time I wake up, I'm like refreshed and recharged and take a shit and I go through my feeds. And the feed is just, oh, hey, did you see this? Oh, hey, did you see this? Oh, hey, did you see this? Oh, hey. And it's just like, how does anybody keep quiet about this shit? Just saving our planet is the thing to do. Looting and polluting is not the way. Hear what Captain Planet has to say. Hell yeah. It's funny too, like I joke about, but this show, even Captain Planet, they're literally showing us over and over again. Oh, you know what I was watching? What was I thinking yesterday? Fuck, I was watching. Was I talking? Oh yeah, I was talking to Karen about it actually. And Karen sent me a message, right? And it was the George Carlin thing, actually, because we were talking about George Carlin so much yesterday. It was George Carlin. Let's see if I can actually play it. I guess I can't play it, but it's the American Politics George Carlin rant. Life is worth losing, and it's 2005, and it's the whole spiel where yeah. Go ahead, dude. You're just gonna keep bugging me. What I find is interesting is, like I said it yesterday, George Carlin isn't funny. That 3-minute whatever it is, it's not funny. It's him. What's fucked up is people like Karen says, hang on. Of course. Why do you ask every day like I would ever forget? I know. So Karen and I are she shares it with me. She said it was funny. After my live feed, the first thing YouTube suggested when she went back to YouTube and the home page, suggested video was that exact rant. After watching me talk about it, that's what YouTube suggested she watches. But it's so much more sinister than I think people realize. People think that, like Karen says, he's definitely got. So she shared it with me, and I said, yes, good, but not funny. And if you make him stumble by clapping, he loses place. He's telling you the truth, and we think it's funny. Brilliant. He's doing it. He's told. He didn't even write it, all of this. He had co-writers. And then I watched it, and I said, not one funny thing said, because the last thing he says is, and all it is a big red, white, and blue dick being shoved up your asses. And that's the part where people laugh, right? She says he definitely got more with it as he got older, though, seemingly not to give a shit about telling the truth and finding a better rhythm. I don't know. Although she's Scottish. Yeah, she's from Scotland, so their lingo is a little different. Although I've always wondered if he was controlled opposition of sorts. It makes sense. And it's like, again, you're just not seeing it, right? Like, George Carlin is telling you, you have owners. The owners own you. They own this, they own that, blah, blah, blah. And it's a big club, and you. He's telling you. He's not like, it's not like he's lifting the lid and showing you some secret. You know it, but he's reinforcing it to you. And then you're like, okay, now laugh, dumbass. You've paid to see this guy tell you that you're nothing more than a goyim piece of shit. That's all you'll ever be. There are owners that own you. They own everything, and there's nothing you can do about it. George isn't telling you, like, hey, guys, like, we have to get together, unify, goyim, unify. That's the one thing that you never see in all these. And it just dawned on me. That's what it is. That's what the difference is. That's the difference between me and those guys. All of those guys, all they ever do is tell you how bad it is and how much it's going to suck and how you're going to die and all that shit. And you know, I mean, wow, it's just crazy. It really is crazy. I don't own banks, anything. No one owns me. Sure, no one owns you. Look at how dumb you are. Jesus Christ. It's just amazing. It's amazing how, like, you know, that stupid arrogance. Like, you know, that's a white guy, right? It's a white guy. He's probably in his 20s, maybe his 30s, but probably in his late 20s. You know, nobody owns me. I'm white supremacy. I saw this other thing today, speaking of white supremacy. It was this story of this guy in this white pickup truck who ran some people off the road. Like, all this shit happened. And when he got arrested, the cops let him walk to the car without being handcuffed behind his back, like policy says. You know, he wasn't charged with all the crimes that could be charged. He wasn't charged with the obstruction. He was respected. He was, you know, they were nice to him. And it's like, that is white privilege. For all of you that don't understand, that think white privilege is like free coffee or some shit, it's not. Oh, see, look at this. This guy says retard. Anybody who says retard still, that just shows you their depth. You can't come up with anything other than that. Jesus Christ. You're fucking, you do all the talk for me. I don't have to say. I just point it out. Look at how low level this person is. But think about, like, even your Russell Brand, right? Russell Brand does a great job of this. Joe Rogan does a great job of this. It just dawned on me, like, this, I'm so grateful Karen sent me that thing, and I went through this, and now I'm doing it right now, because you guys are watching me figure it out in real time. But that's what all these guys do. They say the things out loud that you're thinking, and they reinforce the fear, because it's like, oh, well, Russell Brand, he's in the know, he has money. He knows, he's saying the same things I'm saying, so that's just reinforcing it even more. We have owners. We don't have any say. We're dumb enough to vote, you know. I mean, I seriously, how Alex Jones supported Trump and didn't lose his entire following, it just shows you how racist, you know, our country truly is. You know, because you'll hear people talk about, oh, black people like Trump, black people like Trump. Yeah, none that I know. There may be some Uncle Toms paraded around on TV, but no one in real life. Methed out. That's what it is. You guys get it right. You guys get it right. Ad hominem stuff. I'm pointing out like I always do. Who is this bot? Who is this Israeli bot that is desperately trying to get my audience not to watch me because I'm so methed out? Even though, like, I'm talking about all these like really controversial things and all that. They have no opinion on any of those things. They're mad about something, and they want you guys to stop watching me. For who's gonna do that? It's Saturday morning. It's 8:30, and you're like, oh, I got to get to that guy 9:30. I got to get to that guy's page so I could talk some shit. Like, if anybody thinks that's real, if anybody thinks that that's some sort of negative, you're sadly mistaken. To me, this is that evidence. The system's not going to come in here and tell me, oh, guy, you're right about all these things. What they're going to do is come in and tell me, oh, yeah, you're right about these things. That's why I'm going to start talking about this. I'm going to talk about this instead. I could talk about the thing you're talking about, but you're right. So I'll make something up. Like it's really actually, it's appreciated. You know, it's, what's your opinion on Dodge? D-O-D, I've seen it now twice, D-O-G-E. What is D-O-G-E? Let's see. D-O-G-E. Oh, the stimulus check. Again, I already gave my opinion on this, but why do you think the Trump administration is the only one that's ever done this kind of shit? Because they're buying you. That's it's buying your love. That's as basic and as obvious as it gets. They're gonna buy your love. They're not gonna do anything that's gonna act like why aren't all the Trump pansies?
Dad, can Gianna pick me up?
Yeah, swinging from the rafters. About, is Mom still here?
Yeah.
Make him like a sandwich or something.
No, it's okay. She's not picking him up right now. Yes, she is. Why?
What's the difference between now and then? But that's what they do. They know they can't like again. Where are the Trumpanzees mad about the food and gas prices? Gas prices are more expensive. My gas prices haven't gone down. If anything, they've gone up. He ran under this. Like that was the thing. All this other shit that's gone on. That you'll see people like, oh, Trump's ran. All his promises have been kept, and you see people say shit like that, and it's like, when I asked people why they supported Trump, literally the first thing they said was gas and food prices or the border. Because again, you're racist. But gas and food prices were like this number one thing, and I would just laugh at people like, you think the president controls the food prices? The gas prices? You really think that they just sit around like, all right, a can of soup's going to cost this much now, and we got to raise the price on everything 10, 15%. Like, it's just stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. I don't even know what to say. But you see this same shit, like, I don't understand, I don't understand how that brainwashing works, right? When I fell for Ken O'Keefe, I was totally brainwashed, and this is the guy, fucking, I'll use my platform to try to get you guys to watch Ken O'Keefe. Like, that was my goal. And that lasted like a week. As soon as I started seeing little things and shit started happening and whatnot, I wasn't like, oh, well, I'm sure he has the best intentions. We just don't know him. And, oh, just wait. Things will be revealed and we'll see the plan. And right away, when I was, when I got over the infatuation of, holy shit, somebody's actually saying the things. And then I started questioning things. It just fell apart. And I was adult enough. I don't know what the word is enough to acknowledge that. Like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong about that. What promise did Trump keep? I don't know. You see that shit said all the time, though. It is not the president that controls it. It's that he could. What? Outside? Yeah, so it would do what?
Dry. I mean, get rid of the smell.
Air out. Yeah.
It's still
I know.
So I'm just gonna wear it.
You wear what you want. I was trying to make it not stink so much. You won't acknowledge that comment, though. What are you even talking? Like, it's so stupid. What is this person talking about? I mean, it's like, there's nothing to even say here. Hasn't Dodge saved the U.S. government over $500 million? Like, when you start talking about stuff like that, it's just shit that they tell you. You can't even fathom those numbers. 500 million, this $500 million is just a drop in the bucket compared to the $3.8 billion that we give Israel every year. And the $7.1 billion weapons program that was pushed through without having to go through any of the proper channels. Went right past Congress. Like, it's so crazy to me how people fall for it on one side. Look at, they're saving us money. They're doing all this. And while you're watching them supposedly save money on this side, they're funneling money to Israel. Funneling money to the Jays. And instead of you, like, giving that the same scrutiny that you give everything else, you're like, well, closing the border, right, closing the border, making you a prisoner, you can't leave, right, gotcha, that's a good idea. Cutting wasteful spending, like, this is just a sheep, right, who is just regurgitating they don't know, cutting wasteful spending, you know? You were like, yeah, that's wasteful spending, and then they were like, oh shit, thanks for pointing it out. You just believe what you're told. Investigating alphabet agencies for constitutional violations, taking gay sexuality out of elementary schools where it doesn't belong. Oh, it doesn't belong. No, the gays don't deserve rights. Only the straights do. There's way more sexualization of children by straight society than there is gay. It's just so, like, again, obvious white guy. Actually, he's probably more in his 40s now that he's talking. All of you bigots out there who hate gay people, like, you're just disgusting. Like, the stupidity you fall for, and this is just a manufactured narrative, right? They try to make you think that all this, like, oh, you can't have a trans person read a book to children. Like, because you're dumb enough to think that if trans people read books to kids, that turns them trans. That's how dumb you are. Why is it Trump instituted doctors read books to kids programs so that doctors will come in and read books and then all the kids will become doctors? Like, it's just so crazy. He's saying keep gay stuff out of school. Why? Why is that wrong? Why is that not wrong? If you're against pedophilia, not sure why you have a problem with that. Oh, so all gays are pedophiles. Is that what you're saying? 3-year-olds should not be learning about sex. And they're not, you dumb asses. Where is that happening? Somebody show me where 3-year-olds are learning about gay sex. Like, do you not get how stupid you sound? Especially all you people that don't actually have kids, especially kids in the fucking system that you're talking about at this exact time. What you dumbasses don't realize is that this next generation is full of gays and trans. Just like every generation has been. They're just not closeted like they were before. You know, one of the worst human beings to ever hold power in in government was a fucking cross-dresser. Was it, transgender. He just hit it. J. Edgar Hoover, be reasonable, man. Oh, am I? I'm assuming I have personal friends that have kids that have seen the books. Right. You have personal friends that have kids that have seen the books. Yep. These are the kind, nobody has any first-hand account. I actually have kids. I actually have kids that have been in school. They're 12 and 14. They've been in the elementary school process now for the last... It's not happening. The only thing that's happening in the schools is that it's being acknowledged. Oh yes, there are boys that like boys. But see, this is where again, adults are just stupid, right? You think that if you say gay to a little boy, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old boy, they're gonna go, oh, penises and butts, huh? Penises and butts? No. If you say gay to a kid, they're gonna go, oh, what's that? And you go, well, that's where boys like boys. And they go, oh, okay, well, I'm gay because I don't like girls. Girls are stupid. And you go, no, wait, no. Not, you know how sometimes mommies and daddies like each other? Uh-huh. Well, gay means like either boys or girls, they like each other that way. And usually what the kid will say is, ew. And then they'll go off and do their own thing. They don't care. They or they say, or they have more questions, or they're interested, and that's probably a kid that has those feelings. But I mean, like it's so stupid to think that it's he's 100% wrong and manipulating our comments into his narrative. Am I? What am I manipulating? I just said it. Saw the books. Can you not read about those? About to lose a sub. Oh, sheer disrespect. Oh, no, I'm going to lose you. Oh, no, because I don't agree with you. Yep. I have a sister that is affected by pedophilia, so that has nothing to do with gay. See, this is scary. This is what's scary is how stupid people are, right? Because they just associate gay and pedophilia together. When the reality is, like, when you think about all of the pedo stories you've ever heard, tell me about the ones when it involved trans people. At the same token, tell me about the ones where it involved church people. Or people who had regular lives and everybody thought they had a good family and they were the straight going to church and had the wife and the kids. And yeah. The pedo stories are never trans. It's not never. It's very, very rarely trans. And yet every time Israel does something horrible, some new trans story or gay story comes up. And it's just insane. When you watch TV all the time, it's all sexual innuendo and sexualization, and it's everywhere. Heterosexual version. And I guess that's just okay, right? It's okay as long as it's heterosexual. You can't have that gay stuff in schools. So what about all the kids that are gay? Hey, when did you realize you were straight? When did you realize you were straight? Oh, trans stories on pedos. Sure you do. Sure you do. There is no stories like there are very few. Sorry, very few. You are literally talking about something else. I've never brought up gay. That's what we're talking about. You keep bringing up pedophilia. I'm talking about gay and trans in schools. You keep bringing up pedophilia. I have a sister that was involved in pedophilia. What does that have to do with gay or trans? He doesn't get outside and doesn't practice what he preaches. How do I not practice what I preach? Again, just because you can't come up with a legitimate argument doesn't mean I'm doing something different. This is how I approach everything. It's funny. Everybody likes me until I touch on their bigotry. When you're a bigot, you don't want to admit that you're a bigot. You have no reason to think anything what you're saying. You have no evidence to back what you're saying. You're just talking shit because you've got some weird stuff going on. I don't know if it's jealousy of gays, either jealous that they can, like if you think gay is a choice, then it's probably a choice for you. And I'm sorry that you have, those kind of feelings inside you that you're not comfortable with addressing. Or you're jealous because they're so open and free and they don't give a shit about your condemnation. And you walk around insecure because, this, that, and the other, and you're the straight white Christian. Why should I be insecure and you're not? Yeah, like it's shit like that. You're slow. Goodbye. Joe, I can't. Yep. See, look at this. Look, you can't fucking address what I'm saying, so you're running away like a typical coward. There you go. You're describing exactly what you are doing. Am I? I'm describing what I'm doing. What am I doing? You guys are, this is the stupidity. This is the stupidity that gets to vote. I did, and what did you address? You said you have storage, blah, 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 not addressing the point. I have a sister, 100% wrong. I said the books, can you read? It just doesn't belong in schools. Yep. No, you didn't address anything. I mean, it's fucking, I don't support gay in schools to the extent it was going. What are you even talking about? This is, again, when people start talking about something and they're not involved, it's really weird. Unless you have children, I don't know, you're just talking shit. But I have kids, and again, so all those kids that have the gay stuff inside them, they're just supposed to bottle it up because it makes you uncomfortable. Nobody shouldn't talk about it. Shouldn't have any sort of classes or any sort of understanding or any. Nope. Shouldn't teach tolerance. Shouldn't do anything like that. Nope. And then at what age are they allowed to be gay as far as you're concerned? Can anybody tell me when you're allowed to be gay? I think a lot of shit was being told to children. No, it wasn't. What are you talking about? Where was this taking place? It wasn't taking place in the schools my kids went to. Did you have kids in school at the time, and were they going through it? No. Yeah. There's no gay stuff being taught to little kids. It's just not happening. And the fact is, suddenly, when it supports your own bigotry, then suddenly you're like, no, the news said so it must be the truth. The news is saying so. There's no agenda there. It's fucking goofy. Yeah, and then they read it in Florida. Yep, that's what it is. It's the Florida Law School. Yeah. So again, what do you guys think is happening? Isn't it weird how people can't just answer simple questions? Isn't it strange? Like, what do you think is happening? The only thing that's been happening is more tolerance. You're not allowed to fucking make fun of people. They don't teach kids any of that shit. What do you think? Okay, so then, if it doesn't go in, you spit on it a little bit, and then you eat. You think that's what they're doing? Fucking stupid. I mean, I live in Canada, so there's much sexuality in schools here. It's like, are you stupid? Did you not go to school? Do you not remember all the sex talked about at schools and on the playgrounds and shit like that? And how fucking off everybody was? We would all be talking like we knew something, but we didn't know shit, and we'd be off. We didn't know what we were talking about. There'd always be some kid that claimed that he had already done stuff, so everybody'd want to know what he had to say, but it's just so stupid. Oh no, we got to go back to this other time when kids weren't having sex. Should we stop giving kids condoms too? If you give kids condoms, you force them to have sex. Even though, do you remember buying condoms as a kid? Because it was super, super embarrassing and something that you didn't want to do because the store clerks would look at you funny or, Not elementary. Your points are absent and your arrogance blinds you. Yep. Beef, what's happening? Yeah. Oh, so in elementary school, you're saying you guys didn't talk about girls' tits and all that shit. Sure you didn't. Like, it's just amazing how stupid you claim to be. It's shocking. And again, I'm still waiting for all this stuff that's being taught to the schools. I'm trying to explain what people are mad about from a sympathetic viewpoint. No, you're not, because I'm literally asking you, what are these things that you're talking about that are being taught to children that you oppose? isn't it strange how you can't, like, I've said this now multiple times, and you're crying about this, and, oh, you're just not, then you're blind, because answer the question. You have more knowledge and experience than I do. A man who literally has children in those edges of school. Hey, you know what? Nick! You're in 8th grade, right? How much gay sex has the school taught you? Oh, I wish you guys could see. Huh? No, because the schools are putting all the gay stuff on kids, right?
No.
No, the schools taught you all about gay sex and gay this and that, right? Don't they bring that stuff up? You should totally see his face right now. It's red. He's like embarrassed, and
I want to if you guys believe that, you're really, really stupid.
No, they're here.
No, it's
Really?
It's mom.
Really?
Oh, fuck.
Gosh, so I guess my kid's lying then, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm lying, guys.
All the gay sex that they're teaching him in schools, and when you were in elementary school, didn't they teach you all about gay sex?
Oh yeah, totally. I was part of it. I was their test subject.
That's what it was. Yeah. But I guess again, my kid's lying. You guys know more than I do. You guys know more than my kid does. You can't answer any questions, but I love you, buddy. Have a good day. Don't forget your watch. Hang on.
I got my watch. I also won't forget my gay sex.
Don't forget your gay sex.
Oh.
I love you, dude.
So weird.
So weird. Isn't this is the kind of stuff that people say so they can justify hating gay people.
Oh, by the way, my aunt's gay. You keep making fun of her. Come on.
No, that's what they don't think that she deserves the same rights as other people and all this other crap because because they're teaching you guys gay stuff in school, right?
Well, that's what
All the gay sex.
Yeah, they teach this. John, don't they teach you that in school?
Do they? Do they teach that in school? I know you didn't say that. Nick will explain. Sex ed is a drag queen story area behind. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's happening. All the drag queens might have been, and then again to think, if a drag queen comes and reads a story to kids, what does that do? What does that do again? How does that shit happen? Not all schools. Oh, not all schools have the same curriculum. So you're saying my kid has only gone to the school that doesn't teach it. Although my kids have gone to several schools throughout their time and none of them did. And then the other girl that just picked my kid up, who happens to be gay, all the schools she went to, they didn't teach. But nope, you guys know better. Look at how stupid you guys are. I mean, it's such bigotry. It's like these guys are just immature, insecure bigots. And instead of acknowledging that shit, they just keep making up dumb shit. It affects their mind. Oh, yeah, it affects their mind. Because it's not like there's drag queens around the world that they could maybe see or on TV or anything like that. God forbid, as a parent, you would have to explain to your children that there are people out there that are different. You guys big fans of feet fucking? Should we outlaw feet fuckers? Because that shit's gross. You know nothing about the child's brain. Man, yeah, I know nothing about having 2 kids. I know nothing. Look at how desperate you are. I'm sorry you're this stupid. I am, lacks critical thinking. And I am so sorry you're this stupid. I literally said only a few schools did this a few years back. Oh, so then it's not a big problem like you make it out to be. Oh, and again, what did you say they did? You didn't say what they actually did. Oh, yep. Defend the argument. Yep, that's what I'm doing. I teach my son it's unacceptable. It's because you're a bigot piece of shit. No doubt about that. If you teach your kids that being gay is unacceptable, man, what is going to happen when your kid ends up being gay or your grandkid ends up being gay? I mean, I feel bad for them, but boy, would that be fucking funny. Will that be funny? Because it's unquestionable. It's gonna happen. Man, can you imagine how fucked up your kid is? Thinking that people are unacceptable. It's unacceptable for you to be that way. Wow.
Wow is right.
These are some really fucked up. It can't happen. Yep, it can't happen. Your kid couldn't possibly be gay. Your grandkids, cause you, blah, blah. I mean, what? How could you even possibly say such stupid? Oh wait, because they'll never see anything gay, and if they see stuff that's gay, that makes them gay. But if you prevent them from seeing gay stuff, got it. That makes sense. What's the argument here? Well, there's a bunch of people claiming that apparently they're teaching all about gay sex and shit like that in schools. So that should justify banning gay stuff from school. I mean, I don't even understand what it's just a bunch of bigots trying their best to be bigots and not succeeding. Well, they're still being bigots. They're just not having the effect they want to have. Well, you're going to speak your kid's homosexuality into existence. Wouldn't that be just amazing? Or they're, I mean, I would feel bad because this is the type of piece of shit that will like beat his children and socially and mentally just abuse their child if they had any sort of hint of it. For all we know, he's already been abusing his children in that way. The kid wants to play with a fucking doll or something. Hey, you don't play with dolls. You're a boy. Here's a football. Go play football. It's pretty fucking disgusting. Pretty disgusting. You have heard me verbally abuse my kids on here. Please show me the video. I love when people say stupid shit like that. Please show me that video. I can't make any arguments. I can't make a real argument. So I'm going to make up some nonsense like I always do. No, kids shouldn't identify as animals. No, that's fucking insane. Do we let animals go to school? No. So then if you want to identify as an animal, you got to, shit in a litter box and eat cat food and no, that's ridiculous. It's just like how when you make weed illegal, shit like K2, spice, bath salts, all these other things come into play because people can't just do the thing they want to do, which is smoke a little weed. So when you make gay, trans, this bad thing, of course you're going to get some fucking people that are going to go take it to the extreme. And even if they want to, like, again, who gives a shit?
Well, and the trauma that you cause, like forcing your kid to play with a football, is so much worse than anything else. Like, that's trauma.
Just assuming your kid's the bigot you are.
Yeah. Well, and if your kid is gay and they don't like football and they want Barbies, like, you're gonna force them to play football. What the fuck is wrong with you? You think your kid is gonna be happy? What about that would make you happy? If you had to put down your football and play with Barbies and your dad made you, wouldn't that fuck you up?
It's just stupid. I mean, it's crazy. Like these are the things they keep saying about how it should be kept out of the schools. It should be kept out of the school. What should be kept out of schools?
They are not teaching gay sex.
No, they are apparently.
No, they're not.
No, they're teaching all kinds, like really graphic, spit on it if it doesn't fit in.
They took sex ed out of the fucking schools. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but there's a guy in a dress read a book to a kid one time in like 2020 and 2012, and that meme still goes around to this day.
And what does what did it do? How many kids came out of there saying, Daddy, I want to wear a dress?
If the kid did come out of there saying, Daddy, I want to wear a dress, guess what?
He was going to do it anyhow.
It appealed to him.
Right. He was going to like that anyhow.
But, like I said earlier, when you explain what gay is to most heterosexual children, and you know, again, you don't have to be like, so gay is the one man sucks on the other man's dick and then they fuck each other in the ass. That's not what we're saying here. When you tell them that gay is when boys, like mommies and daddies like each other, the response is 99% of the time, ew. Why? Ew. And then that's it. They don't care. And if you say, look, you know, gay stuff is gross, totally understandable. To me, gay stuff is gross. I have no use personally for gay stuff. But at the same time, to gay guys, heterosexual stuff is gross. We can change topic. Oh, why? Because you're losing? Yeah, I get it. I would hate it if my bigotry and you know, abuse was getting pointed out. I'd want to change topics too. Check it out. There's videos of me verbally abusing my children. When I ask for what video it is, I literally number my videos. Like, you could find the actual number. Of course, you're not going to say anything. Telling them to shut up when they wouldn't explain why they were arguing. Yep, I'm telling them to shut up. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Look at this shit. Look at this amazing, just dumb shit over and over again. Over and over again, just stupid shit. It would be one thing if people were making legitimate arguments or even answering the questions. What again is supposed to be kept out of schools? You think that what, you're going to out... And again, at what age are people allowed to be gay? How does that work for you?
I mean, some kids know they're gay when they're really young. And then some kids don't figure it out until they're 20. You know, my sister didn't realize what her preference was until she was about 20 years old. We have a friend who's transitioning. He said he knew from a very young age.
When did you know you were straight?
Right?
What a dumb thing to say.
I mean, I remember being really young and having crushes on dudes, you know, all these different dudes. Like,
little girl crushes.
it was never
But did you think,
conversation.
I hope that these guys come and hold my legs up while they fuck me real good so then
Not
I
at
can suck their
all.
dicks? And is that not what you were thinking?
Like the one guy in particular, I remember I was probably, and it was in Big Brothers Big Sisters. He was one of the Big Brothers, but he was getting ready to get out of it. So he was like 17. And he was, you know, very attractive. And I just remember going, oh my God, if he would kiss me, I would just die. And that was as far as it went. Oh my God, if he kissed me. Like, I remember thinking that, sitting there watching him around a bonfire one night when we were camping. Like, oh my God, he looked at me. Oh, if he would just kiss me.
Because
That
in
was it.
elementary school, no, there was no talks like that in elementary school. Kids weren't talking about sex and stuff on the playground in elementary school.
They didn't know what it was, but they would make jokes about it because of taboo and they weren't supposed to know about it and ha 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 funny.
Or they, well, you weren't a boy, but as boys, somebody would find their dad's porn collection and, we would hear all about shit. And we'd be going, oh, that's crazy. He did what? He put his mouth where? Oh, no. What do your boobies look like? What do your boobies look like?
Like, really? I mean,
It's just amazing how stupid people are.
they really are.
It really does come down to just stupid. Like, you've forgotten what it was like to be a kid. You've forgotten, how confusing and I mean, again,
And
it's
how naive you are. as
right,
a
how
kid.
naive
That's
you
what it
are.
is.
Right. You're just stupid. But I also know that when I was a kid, if my friends were like, hey, I got this porno and we watched, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's watch it. If my friends were like, hey, I got this porno where there's two dudes doing the same shit, I'd be like, no. No, I'm okay with that. Even as a young kid, I was like, no,
That's too much.
I don't need to see that. I don't want to see that. I have no desire to see that. I didn't even think about it, actually. I never thought about, like, hey, I wonder if dudes do the same thing.
No.
I didn't think about
Never
that.
thought.
You know,
And now, because things are more mainstream, obviously kids are going to have more access to
Of course.
information. You know, so
kids
now,
have way more sexual
think about this.
opportunity and advancement than we ever did.
So a straight kid asks a gay kid, you know, well, how do the guys have sex? Like, you know, girls have and guys have sex with penis going in the vagina. How do boys have sex? And as soon as they hear, well, in their butthole, a straight kid is gonna be like, no fucking way.
Ew.
That's not happening. I'm not
Ew.
doing that.
Stick what in my where? No. No. The first porn I watched was Debbie Does Dallas 2. And I believe I was in 4th grade, maybe 5th grade.
Wow.
And my friend, well, I mean, we had porn my whole fucking life. I lived in an apartment complex that there was one big trash compactor unit for the whole subdivision, and the subdivision was like one of the biggest apartment subdivisions at the time in the country. And all the trash would get put into one bin. And like some days it would just be like trash would just be everywhere because it just didn't fit into the compactor. But as kids, we would go dumpster diving all the time. And it was, you know, once a month at least, some woman would find her husband's porn stash
Or
and
teenage sons, I would imagine.
something and would throw it out. And then we would find it and we'd get the magazines and we'd take them to our little forts and we'd look at them and our little boners and we'd be like, oh my God, this is so weird. Why is this happening? But then, you know, I absolutely, like, so much of the time, the magazines were like, you know, Hustler or Barely Legal or, you know, Corner Store Whore or something like these really nasty magazines. And you'd see these pictures of girls like squatting or like the close-ups, super close-ups of their pussies and shit like that. And I guess I'm gay because I have no desire to see that stuff. I don't understand that. You know, I don't understand why people would be that. Other than, you know, it being taboo to you and you being raised in an environment where you weren't allowed to ask questions, you weren't allowed to talk about it, you weren't allowed this and that, and then you finally get old enough and now you're like a deviant because of it. With the first porn, it was either Mike stole it from his brother, or I think he stole it from his brother, or he found it in his brother's stuff or something like that, because his brother was like 10 years older. And I remember we came home, I think it was from school that day, and we watched it. And I remember being so hard, I couldn't walk right. And I was like, what? And I kept having to pee. And I just didn't know what was going on. But I knew, and the crazy part is, like, I knew, like, I wanted to do that stuff. I didn't know what was going on. But I was like, hey, that hot chick with her boobies hanging out, putting a penis in her mouth, that seems like that might feel good. That might be cool, I guess. I don't know why that would be cool, but that looks like that would be cool. You know, that was how it happened. You know, and back then there was no internet for me to educate myself with. You know, sex ed. We had sex ed, and sex ed was just silly. Like they separate us. They had the girls went in one room and the boys went in another room, and the girls had like a really like in-depth sex ed class, and the boys had like a really basic, they're just gonna laugh the whole time anyway, sex ed class. And that was in 5th grade, I believe. In 5th grade we had sex ed.
6th grade.
What's up, dude?
Where's what? What is baking powder?
Let's see.
It's
Yeah, so terrible. Why do you live here if it's so terrible and racist? That's the. I'm supposed to answer that question. All right.
With a clear plastic lid.
I love when people can't answer my questions or can't debate with me or actually just start saying stupid shit. God, it's crazy. The thing about America is you have the freedom to be able to say these things and redress your grievances and all that shit. You know, that's what America's about. It's not a you don't like it, get out thing. It's a you don't like it, fix it thing. But hey, nice try.
Yeah.
Loser.
You need both. You know what I mean?
It's fucking silly, man. It's just
Oh my goodness.
it just shows you how difficult this is. Not a single person made it even a reasonable argument. Like not one of them was even like smart enough to say, "Oh, because I think it's gross." "Oh, because I hate it." Like you just say these dumb things, and it's so fucking crazy. It's so crazy. And the funniest thing is too, all these dudes on here mad. I guarantee you don't have a problem with 2 hot chicks making out. Guarantee you have no problem with 2 hot chicks slobbing your knob at the same time. That gay is okay though,
don't
right?
burn the house down, please, okay? Sounds good. All right, you guys be good.
And if you do, get the fuck out. Don't try to put it. Get the fuck out.
They're making pancakes.
Whatever.
Right, guys, have fun.
Why are they calling you if they're making pancakes?
Bye.
Aren't there 2 adults there?
She's sleeping.
I mean, look at how stupid you guys are. It's embarrassing how well programmed we are to hate each other while they sit at the top manipulating all that hate. You know, they're the ones that created your gay bigotry, your transphobias. All at the same time, it's Hollywood that's been showing you for years. What's the funniest thing Hollywood can show you? Funniest thing that you can imagine in Hollywood is when, like, your favorite actor
wears
a dress. I mean,
buddies.
Oh.
The whole show, the whole pretense.
Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny when the guy, like, you're the guy, like every single male figure that you see, they put on the dress. That's so funny. Ha ha ha.
Like I said, the whole pretense for bosom buddies was.
Nobody knows what bosom buddies is. Come on.
Do you remember that show?
I do, but nobody on here does. All these young kids, they don't know nothing.
That shit was.
Everybody, how many people, they were like, "Oh, fuck you, Bugs Bunny," putting on a woman's outfit and tricking poor Elmer Fudd. It's trans. No, I disagree with your hate. Anytime you're pushing any sort of fucking unreasonable bigotry hate, I have an issue with that. We're not talking about a choice. If we were talking about a choice, that would be one thing. But you're talking about hating the way people are. And that's I can't, there's no siding with that. Stupid. I mean, look at the comments. Look at how it's just, "You're stupid. they're not going to bring up any like evidence to anything. They're not going to debunk anything. They're not going to address anything. They're just going to cry. It's just a bunch of crybaby. You don't care enough to hate. Clearly you do. You care enough to teach your kids to hate. And you're a bigot, dude. What's up, you from last week? Yeah, you're a bigot. And, you know, you've lost all credibility with me. Just one of the regulars. People think that, like, again, because you've been here for a while or you're a regular, that I'm going to be like, oh, well, I guess I'll overlook it. Especially if you're someone who claims to be Team Goyim, claims to be, you know, on the righteous side, only for you to let your bigotry out. Like, you can get fucked. I don't give a shit. And I can't stand that shit. I can't stand it. I can't stand the trans gay phobia stuff. Why do people keep saying debate me? Say something. Why do you need me to talk to you directly so badly? Like, none of you matter that much to me. If you want to debate, then bring something up. You have all the advantage in the situation anyway. You're the one that's not on camera. So if you get stumped or you need to cheat and look something up or whatever, you can do that with anonymity. I'm the one that has to be on topic. Look at these dumb shits. Somebody who says, debate me on literally any topic. So what, you're just going to argue for the sake of arguing on anything that's brought up? What a dumbass. And again, I'm supposed to address you particularly, not the live feed that I'm on and I've already been doing, and we're talking about something really debatable. No, we should all stop to accommodate white guy, because white guy thinks we should. No, because you are wrong about everything. Yep, that's what it is. Gotta love the blanket statement. Instead of saying you're wrong about this, that, or the... So this chick is pushing the sexuality, right? Pushing the chicken bone in and out of her mouth without chewing it or anything. But you guys don't have a problem with that one, do you? No, that's a female, though. That's a female, so that makes it okay. You're like a lot of... Of course I'm going to make people mad. You know, they've tricked us into being stupid fucking bigots. And if you're a stupid fucking bigot and somebody challenges that, how, other than getting mad, what can you do? Nobody's going to come at me with any sort of, oh, you're wrong because of this. You got this wrong because of this. That's not how this works. The thing that I do, where I address issues, comments, whatever it is, head on, and then, read it, address it, give my whatever, debunk it. Nobody does that to me. People do, yep, I don't see that. That's what it must be. People are always debunking me. It's just those comments I'm not seeing. I love when people, okay, so let's nip it in the bud right now. Whether you claim that you've done it before, or that I don't read the comments, or what are some other ones? That you need to be in the whatever it is. Don't say any of that stupid shit. Just say exactly what I've gotten wrong. I've repeated myself many, many times. Knowing I'm right, I don't have a problem repeating myself. So for people to act like if they had to repeat themselves about something, and the other thing is, don't just say you're wrong about this. You have to give a reason why. You don't matter enough that if you say it, I'm just going to go, oh shit, well this person said I was wrong, so I must be wrong then. You don't have that ability. You don't have that credibility. not always, but bring up good points. You change the subject. Yep, that's again. It's just more and more shit. Come on, let's see what you can do. Debates come with rebuttals. Yeah. Debates come with rebuttals. So I'm just supposed to have rebuttals for stuff that doesn't exist? Gotcha. Doesn't there have to be the initial debate for me to have a rebuttal to begin with? And this is my feed, right? So I'm not here to cater to any individual. You're here on my feed. If I'm wrong about something I'm saying, whatever topic I happen to be talking about that day, you might want to try to debunk that. If you think I was wrong about something in the past, by all means, bring it up. But this idea where you think like you're the part that I give, your arrogance is insane. Jesus Christ, look at this dumb shit. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy how stupid people are. I'm just shocked by it. Oh yeah, I wanted to look this up. This is something I wanted to look up. Since you guys are fucking useless anyway. Can't respond. Like this guy is coming up with every excuse why he's not gonna just say one simple thing. I ain't change your channel. You got a point I agree with. Whatever you do, whatever you gotta do. Old London Bridge. Have you guys seen this? Have you heard about this? Old London Bridge. This is what it used to look like. It's one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world.
Oh, is that a bridge?
Shush. Here's I guess more of it, or another depiction of something. All right, let's see. So, Old London Bridge. The name London Bridge refers to several historic crossings that have spanned the River Thames between the city of London and Southwark in central London since Roman times. The current crossing, which was opened to traffic in 1973, is a box girder bridge built from concrete and steel. It replaced the 19th century stone arched bridge, which in turn superseded a 600-year-old stone-built medieval structure. In addition to the roadway, for much of its history, the broad medieval bridge supported an extensive build-up area of homes and businesses, part of the city's bridge ward, and its southern end in Southwark was guarded by a large stone city gateway. The medieval bridge was preceded by a succession of timber bridges, the first of which was built by the Roman founders of London, Londinium, around 50 AD. Current bridge history. All right, let's see. Oh, I wanted Old London Bridge. Why am I reading about London Bridge? All right, let's see. The abutments of modern London Bridge. I wonder what that song's really about. I don't know the rest of it. Take the something.
I don't remember.
We'll have to look it up. From the Neolithic era, the southern embankment formed a natural causeway above the surrounding swamp and marsh of the river's estuary, right? Because when it was founded, it was just swampland that they...
Yes.
Yeah. The northern ascended to higher ground at the present site of Cornhill. Between the embankments, the River Thames could have been crossed by ford when the tide was low, or ferry when it was high. What's a ford?
Oh, shit. God damn it.
Both embankments, particularly the northern, would have
offered stable beachheads for boat traffic up and downstream. The Thames and its estuary were a major inland for continental trade continental trade route from at least the 9th century BC. So from at least, what did we decide on? That would make it 800?
Fucking static.
The 800s BC? That's weird. Why don't you tap it?
I did. Made it worse.
Why don't you lift it a little bit, then tap it again?
It's static.
I know. There is archaeological evidence for scattered Neolithic, Bronze Age, and Iron Age settlements nearby. But until a bridge was built there, London did not exist. A few miles upstream, okay, I don't give a shit. Well, a few miles upstream, beyond the river's upper tidal reach, 2 ancient fords were in use. These were apparently aligned with the course of Watling Street, which led into the heartlands of the Chateauvilliana. Viliani, I don't know. Britain's most powerful tribe at the time of Caesar's invasion of 54 BC. Sometime before Claudine's conquest of 43 AD, power shifted to the Trivenites, who held the region northeast of the Thames estuary from a capital at Camaldulundum, nowadays Colchester in Essex. Claudius imposed a major colonia at Camaldulundum and made it the capital city of the new Roman province of Britannia. The first London Bridge was built by the Romans as part of the road building program to help consolidate their conquest. Like they tell us this shit, and then you go, yeah, they had a road building program. And you go, okay, so let's just talk about that for now. So they had a guy who would sleep in his little mud house or whatever he had, his little shack. Then he would get on his horse in the mornings and ride into town where in his amazing Roman Colosseum-like building, he was in the bridge building management office. And what did he have, like file cabinets full of all these different plans and all these different jobs and all this different, and who was on each job and then how much they got paid, I guess. And like, did they have all that how could you have a bridge building program and a guy that was the head of the bridge building program and not have like it has to be, it's a bridge building. It's not like one guy was like, the king was like, we need to build bridges. So then one guy just went around building bridges. There would have to be a whole network of, individuals involved. And then how was that network kept? How did they communicate with each other? All the supplies needed to make the bridges would then have to be contracted out through other companies. They would have to move all this material to where it really is more than you're willing to think about it. And that's how the stories we're all given work. They give us what we consider to be details, like a Roman bridge building program. But go ahead and try to look into that. And then even if you could, we're talking about what, 2,000 years ago? We somehow have the records, all these records from 2,000 years ago. Remember, all of these things I'm reading you, 40 AD, 43, 50 AD, some BC, blah. This is 2,000 years ago. And somehow these records have survived. All of the different conquests, all of the different leadership changes, all of the different, natural disasters and all these wars and all this shit that's gone down. Somehow, this shit has managed to survive. And it was all written down back then because they knew how important it was going to be. I mean, it's just, it's a stretch for me to believe that these, you know, basically cave people who were also capable of like, it just, the whole thing gets so fucked up because it's hard to like say, like, they're these really basic people, but they were also the people that were building the Roman Colosseums and you know, the aqueducts and just all the empire, like castles and churches, and like, I just don't think of those people that were building these incredible structures in very short periods of time, usually on top of an existing structure or something that was burnt down or taken down. So there was already something there before it. But like these narratives just don't jive, man. It's so fucking crazy. Sorry. You know, this once the Tartarian narrative really fucked me up. Because it was something that I had already been, like, I had been denying that slavery happened and the Native American genocide happened for a good 10 years. You know, I was already really questioning history as it was. And then Tartaria comes in and it answers a lot of the questions. Not all of them. If anything, it makes for more questions, but it answers a lot of questions. My wife and I have, you know, my wife's belonged to the castle page, churches page forever. And we've always, how the fuck did they build that? She'll show me shit all the time. How the fuck did they build that? Big old castle on the top of a mountain in the middle of a lake.
And it's not just, you know, how did they build that? It's fucking beautiful. Like,
Yeah, every square
gorgeous.
inch is meticulously carved perfectly.
Just
There's
absolutely
ornate
beautiful.
decoration way higher up in the castle than anybody's even going to see. So why would you be decorating it like that? Why would you spend the money, the resources, the time? How did you get all those materials? The logistics of building that castle on top of that mountain in the middle of that lake. How do you do? How did they build Venice? We're just all so okay with the Venice story, and it is as bullshit as
Okay, so
anything.
you have to keep in mind, we're not taught the Venice story. So most
Right.
people have no idea what you're saying.
Well, I'm going to lead into that. So, Venice was supposedly founded by a Christian of some sort fleeing the Romans who came upon the area that was like marshy swampland. So what they did was some from the nearby forest, I don't know where they got, but they found all of these trees, big, huge, tall, straight trees that they sheared the branches off and then cut the trees down, drove each of the tree trunks down 20, 40 feet deep, and then another X amount of feet deep into the clay down below. They did this all over the place. And you know, these, as close as they could get all these trees together, they eventually, that was the base platform, which then they built their houses and all that somehow. Again, the somehow, where they got the concrete and all that shit, we don't know. But the foundation are trees that over time, we're told, because of the salinity of the water, have turned basically into concrete. Somehow all of the, like they made, like, you know how the petrified forest is this one place where supposedly the trees were buried by volcanic ash or whatever it was. And then over millions of years of water seeping down, the water brought the ash down, and it eventually replaced all of the molecules, atoms, whatever, replaced all of the tree bits with silica instead. That's how those trees became rocks. Because all of their organic matter was replaced by silica. But like Venice is the most, I dare you to believe this story and not even like given like, fuck it, let's pull it up, because I'm not doing it any sort of, I was going Old London Bridge, but we're going to go Venice. Because Venice is, oh, not Venice, Florida. Funny how there's a Venice, Florida too. There's Venice all over the place actually. Venice, city in Italy. All right. History. All right, we're just going to skip to the history. Although no surviving records deal directly with the founding or building of Venice. All right, that's it. I'm done.
That's not fair.
How is that not fair?
You're not giving it a fair shake.
How am I not? Okay, read that first sentence to me.
No, I heard you.
So, what do I need to read after that? Although no surviving historical records deal directly with the founding or building of Venice, tradition.
Okay, so this is where
Tradition.
Like, okay, so I had that folklore class, right?
Yeah.
Folklore.
Yeah.
He called it folklore history's weird cousin, because most of our history is based on folklore.
All of our history is folklore. That's the thing
And
that we don't understand.
You know, he demonstrated story after story, and he went from, he's got Welsh ancestry, so he went from a lot of the Welsh, you know, that part of the world. But it's all the same shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
It just proves it. How the fuck would it all be the same if all these people were not communicating with each other? I mean, it's again, the issue being that we don't understand. Like, George Washington is folklore. It's just fake bullshit. Abraham Lincoln is just
wooden teeth.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, he had wooden teeth.
That's my favorite one. Okay, so I'm a science person, and I always have been even since a little girl. And when they first said he had wooden teeth, my mind went to, but wood,
Right.
it's wet, and your mouth is always wet. Like, how did they stick the wood to his gum? It just, no. Even as a kid, I knew that.
The infections, the amount of like infection and
porous.
disgusting, like, ugh. You would be so dead.
You'd be so sick all the time. This shit's just stupid.
All right. Tradition. Tradition. And the available evidence have led historians to agree that the original population of Venice consisted of refugees from nearby Roman cities. Now here we go. So you know how they just got done telling us that there aren't any details? Well, they're from cities such as Patavium, Aquilium, Travisium, Athenium, Cornonacoda, Portugoda, Treviso, Padua, as well as from the undefended countryside. So did you just get your brain tricked there? We're not going to give you any details, but here, they could be from, they could be from here and here. You know what? They could be from fucking anywhere as long as we're making up the story. They could have been from across the fucking, across the Atlantic. They sailed over here. Who the fuck knows? Who were fleeing successive waves of Germanic and Hun invasions. Those goddamn Germans! They are just always fucking involved. Always. This is further supported by the documentation of the so-called apostle families. It literally says so-called. The so-called apostle families. The 12 founding families of Venice. Oh, it's so irritating. It's so irritating. So it just happens to be Venice was founded by 12 families as well. I seem to think there's like another story or two that has to do with 12. 12 tribes of the 12 apostles. No, what was it? Oh, well, I'm sure it's legitimate. The 12 founding families of Venice who elected the first, speaking of Doge, D-O-G-E. That's weird. Who in most cases traced their lineage back to Roman families. Because of course they do. I mean, you know, how they were tracing lineage back before they had Ancestry.com. It just had that book. They just had that book that was just survived all the wars and famines and all the diseases and all the everything that had the floods and all the shit because, you know, hey, we're fleeing from persecution. Don't forget the genealogy book. Don't forget it.
God, you sounded just like Scott right there.
Don't forget it. It's on my back. I keep it with me everywhere I go. What do you mean? Don't forget it. I have mine and yours. I have them both. I just happen to have them as we are fleeing the Germanic people and the Huns. God damn it. Always fucking our shit up. Some late Roman sources reveal the existence of fishermen on the islands in the original marshy lagoons who were referred to as incolae lacunae, lagoon dwellers. Oh, yeah. There were just some lagoon dwellers that lived there as well. Now, when you add the whole idea, like you take away all this bullshit of thousands of years ago, and you think about it like there was a reset, and as people were going around rediscovering things, they would come across people who were these lagoon dwellers who didn't know there was more, like they thought everybody else was dead, and they were just trying to survive with their little fishing boats and shit in their lagoons. They didn't know any better. Who knows? Or it's all just bullshit. The traditional founding is identified with the dedication of the first church, of course. That of San Giacomo on the islet of Rialto, high shore, said to have taken place at the stroke of noon on March 25th, 421, the feast of the Annunciation. Stroke of noon. The foundation of Venice, as depicted in the Chronicon Pictium in 1358, according to the Hungarian Chronicle, King Attila of the Huns besieged Aquileia. The inhabitants of the first city fled to the sea island and then founded Venice on the island. So these people fled and founded They fled and founded this. They founded it there. And you know, I mean, I'm sure this is all just hyperbole and accident, right? Building these giant fucking castles and shit. Who was building that back then? How? And again, these guys founded it. What is this Chronicon Pictium? The Chronicon Pictium, or Illustrated Chronicle, it's got a lot of names, is a medieval illustrated chronicle from the Kingdom of Hungary from the 14th century. It represents the artistic style of the royal court of King Louis of Hungary. The codex is a unique source of art, medieval culture, and history. Because again, back then, this is how you made books. Right? Every page looks like this. Think about that. How many possible books could you make where every page looks like that? And if you're going to say, oh, there was only the one, and only the one survived?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go back to this because that seems like that's a whole different rabbit hole. Beginning as early as 166 to 168 AD, the Quadi and Marcomanni destroyed the main Roman town in the area, present-day Oderzo. So, how do you destroy a town? Especially back, like, what are they using back then for their destructive purposes? Pigeons.
Oh, I used pigeons yesterday in one of the classes. So they were talking about, I don't even remember what. And I said pigeons. And all the old people started laughing. The young people didn't get it. But all the old people started cracking up. They're like, yes, pigeons. Oh, you guys must know my husband and heard all the stories.
This part of Roman Italy was again overrun in the early 5th century by the Visigoths, and some 50 years later by the Huns led by Attila. Dun dun dun.
We saw Attila the Hun. He didn't seem like that bad of a dude. Bill and Ted got along with him.
Right. Well, he was pretty sweet with the fucking spear staff, though.
Oh, yeah. But he wasn't
I remember
bad
being a
guy.
kid and thinking that was the coolest part of the movie because I was like so into martial arts and shit when I was a kid. Like, that part was so cool. What's interesting is, like, when you think of Venice, do you think of Attila the Hun? And so Attila the Hun came from, like,
I forgot that's what you were talking about.
Mongolia, right?
Yes.
Or, right? And Mongolia is on the other side, right? Isn't that?
Don't.
I'm not asking you. No, I'm not asking you. Let's see. Attila the Hun. Attila was one of the most feared enemies in Western and Eastern Europe, Eastern Roman empires. He crossed the Danube twice and plundered the Balkans, but was unable to take Constantinople. The name Attilan is East Germanic. Many scholars have argued that the name Attila derives from East Germanic origin. Attila is formed from the Gothic or Gepetic. Oh God, I don't give a fuck. So wait. Okay, historiography and sources. The historiography of Attila is faced with a major challenge in that the only complete sources are written in Greek and Latin by the enemies of the Huns.
So it can't be accurate because the enemies wrote it. They don't have an account from the allies. So therefore, they can't guarantee its accuracy.
And they can't guarantee its authenticity. It could just be a fucking scary bedtime story for all we know. Like, are we saying that no one else was writing about Attila the Hun?
No, because they all died.
And him, the conqueror that he was, I think it's so goofy to think about that. Like some guy from hundreds, thousands miles away is able to control you when, you know, all they have is horses and shit. Like, really, what, at least according to the narrative we're given, what specific advantages would somebody have over someone else back then? It's not like there was guns. It's not like there was high-powered weaponry and shit.
But they also had a lot of tattletales, according to all the stories.
Right, who used the pigeons to tell.
So you were always kept in check by the people that would tell the king, or, you know, on you. So trying to get in better in the king's favor, of course, that would be their motive.
Yeah, but even then, you know, that being said, all somebody has to do then is lie. Because, you know, it's like the witch burnings, you know. Oh,
yeah,
she did witch stuff
happened.
and blah, blah, blah. So,
exactly how that should happen.
yeah, but it only happened significantly in that way with that one thing. It's not like it's this thing that we hear about happening all the time in all these different scenarios. Just this one little short, small time where people were lying. I mean, I think again we're all just we're so used to the way today works that we just sort of overlook the challenges that today, you know, that we don't experience today, that we're told. I mean, clearly they were able to do these things, but we're told the people that were able to do these things are as basic, you know what I mean? Like they don't have anything. And yet, you know, these are the same people that are able to build the buildings that we don't know how they built. They were doing all this communication and you think about like so how does it even work? Like, how does any of it even work? How would the kings and all that know about all the little people dispersed all throughout the everywhere? And then how would they maintain that? It's just like every time you see those old movies, like, or not old movies, but even movies like Aragon. I have Aragon in my head right now, right? Where
Love that movie.
Right, where that's how the little town was and all that shit. And it's just think, how would you organize and control all that and maintain that and you know, there's so much logistics that would go into something like that. And then keeping track of everything, and it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't fit. And then you hear stories about, like, because you think that there's not as many people, right? That's what she's about to say.
No. They had to grow all their food. They had to slaughter all their animals. They had to, you know, tend to all their crops. They had to clean everything, you know.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be super busy.
So their days were busier, so they had less time to fuck with, you know, shit.
Again, I you know, and somehow everyone is just really, really capable. And there's
they had to be out of necessity. That's what we were pretty much led to believe.
Right. We were these super basic people who on the side could do incredible things. But then we lived in just squalor and shit. I mean, it just, the whole logistics of the control mechanism that they tell us about, to me, doesn't make any sense. Not with the people were said existed. If you tell me that there was more technology and you know, then it makes sense. But for what we're told, I just don't buy it. And, you know, the more I seem to look into things, the easier not to buy it. People are just way too okay with the idea that people living in Shrek houses were building tunnels. I mean, and then you hear stories like the River Thames Tunnel, where they're talking about how, you know, they would get thousands of visitors per day. And the amount of people that would require thousands of paying visitors per day, that in itself is an undertaking. You know, and we just, you know, and we're like, wow, thousands of people came to see these people build a fucking tunnel underneath a river in 1840. Like, it just, what I really think is that, like, you know, like I said the other day, a lot of the stuff that still exists today, what if that's the stuff that they thought, well, this isn't so incredible, they'll be able to redo this stuff, so we can leave these things around because this is like our basic stuff, you know? What if that's why the stuff that still exists is what it is? They didn't destroy certain buildings and shit because they thought we'd be able to they'd be able to recreate that. And before they realized we wouldn't, historical record existed. What if that's the case? And what if every building, every house, everything was as it's depicted in the paintings? You know, was as we're shown, where it was incredible, and the star forts and all that other shit, the castles and the stuff that we have today is the lower end. And shit like Budapest and all over India, all those places all over India that are just, that was much more normal than people think. What if that's the narrative? The Jays are the worst. What part are we missing there? That's who controls the narrative. That's who makes us believe that we are just these insignificant, like we don't. Do you realize, like even something like the Statue of Liberty, we're just way too okay with, or the Eiffel Tower, we're way too okay with the fact that people like that they were able to do that in the time they were said they were able to. Oh, there's pictures of the Eiffel Tower, or there's Photoshop. There could easily be Photoshop of the Eiffel Tower being constructed. It's interesting how nobody ever has relatives that are credible. Obviously, there's going to be trolls that'll be, oh, I do. But nobody ever has stories of relatives who worked on any of these projects. And really, again, look at me. I'm going way off in all these directions that aren't me talking about how the Jays control it all. How they're killing people right now. The genocide is ongoing. How your American tax dollars are funding it like you wouldn't believe. They just gave Israel $7.1 billion worth of weapons, saying that we bought that from them. They gave us back our money for some weapons. That's us buying weapons. That's them buying weapons from us. The reality is that the focus needs to be on the cult itself. People need to understand that we're dealing with a cult, and that a cult has taken control of our system. And if you think about it under those guidelines, like does does it maybe seem possible that if a really selective supremacist cult is in charge, that they would come up with different little conspiracies to have us going in different directions? That they would divide us mentally and spiritually and all that. Isn't that what you would do if you were the inferior physically, mentally, numerically? You're this inferior cult, and yet you're trying your best to maintain control. Like, how else would you do it? It's really nothing. He's not whining. Nobody whining. He's laying down asleep. Crazy ass girl.
Just heard whining.
Maybe. I don't think he did. I just don't. There's so much evidence for this indirectly that you end up talking about it over the direct evidence, because the direct evidence, I mean, it's a lot to talk about day after day after day. But it's all right there for you. It's all right in your face, and they don't hide it. They're not, they're proud of it all. I shared this video today of random Jays being interviewed in Israel about what they think about Christmas and Christians, and how the one guy was like, yeah, I spit at him. Every time I see him, I spit at him. The thing about Jays spitting on Christians is such a common thing, and yet you're like okay with it. I'm not doing Attila. What were we looking at? We were looking at Venice.
Because you don't really hear about that in the United States.
Right, because it's hidden.
Accounts of that occurring. That might occur in Israel more commonly.
All the time.
But you don't hear about that here. So.
Not only do we not hear about it here, we don't hear the Pope condemning it. Why isn't the Pope condemning Christians being spit on? Anyway, the last and most enduring immigration into the north.
I'm coming, Bubba.
Into the north of the Italian peninsula, that of the Lombards in 566 left the Eastern European Empire only a small strip of coastline in the current Veneto, including Venice. The Roman Byzantine Empire territory was organized as the Exarchate of Ravenna, administered from that ancient port and overseen by a viceroy, the exarch, appointed by the emperor in Constantinople. That's what I'm talking about. Like, do you not understand the logistics that it would take to facilitate that whole sentence I just said, and then maintain that position? And what was he sitting in an office? Did he have an office that he worked from? And he had a secretary, and he had, files and shit. Like, what are we talking about, these viceroys and all that? What did the viceroy do? From what it sounds like, everybody that was like a viceroy, a lord, an emperor, whatever, they sat around all day fucking each other and fucking the servants and eating great food. And it sounds like all they did was drink and fuck and, fuck each other and have these crazy parties and shit and build things. Obviously, they built crazy houses and shit. Ravenna and Venice were connected by just 2 sea routes, and with the Venetians' isolation came increasing autonomy. New ports were built, including those at Malamocco and Torcello in the Venetian lagoon. The Tribuni Maoris formed the earliest central standing governing committee of the islands in the lagoon, dating from c. 568, circa 568. The traditional first Doge of Venice, Paolo Lucio Anafestus Paulicius, was elected in 697, as written in the oldest chronicle by John, Deacon of Venice, circa 1008. So, the oldest known chronicle talking about Venice dates to 1008. And somehow this guy knew about shit that was going on in 697 and all these other things. Like, what source did he have? How did they create the chronicle? Who created it? Like, where did they get all their information from? Some modern historians claim Paulo Lucio Anafesto was actually Exarch Paul, Exarch, I don't know. It's one word, Exarch. Exarch Paul, and Paul's successor, Marcello Tegaliano, I don't know, was Paul's magister militum, or general, literally master of soldiers. In 726, the soldiers and citizens of the exarchate rose in rebellion over the iconoclast controversy at the urging of Pope Gregory II. Again, how was he like? Was he on TV? Was he on the radio? How was he urging people to do anything? The exarch, held responsible for the acts of his master, Byzantine Emperor Leo III, was murdered, and many officials were put to flight in the chaos. At about this time, the people of the lagoon elected their own independent leader for the first time, although the relationship of this to the uprisings is not clear. So why is it mentioned? Is it because it's giving you nonsense details to cover for the fact that there are no real details? No. Come on, guys. Ursus was the first of 117 Doges. A Doge is a Venetian dialectal equivalent of a duke, a leader. The corresponding word in English is duke. In standard English, or in standard Italian, duca. See also deuce. Whatever his original views, yada, yada, yada. Ursus supported Emperor Leo's third successful military expedition to recover Ravenna, sending both men and ships. In recognition of this, Venice was, quote, guaranteed numerous privileges and concessions. And Ursus, who had personally taken the field, was confirmed by Leo as duke, and given the added title of Hypatus, Greek for council. Hypatus. I just don't, like, this is just fucking stupid. I'm not reading all of this. This is insane. All I wanted to know was how they fucking built it, but of course I can't. There's nothing in here about the construction. Government, economy, sport, education, culture, business, people. 1870 panoramic view of Venice. I mean, oh, so it's going to be this tiny fucking thing that I can't see. Okay. 1870 view of Venice. You guys can't really see it, can you? Yeah, that makes sense. That was all from 1870. Oh. Yeah, right. Who built that long before 1870? That is fucking wild, man. I was trying to find Venice construction. I mean, it's so stupid. Look at this. These are the trees, and then they built it. How did they just do all this? These people, these lagoon fishermen mud people, they knew how to do it, I guess. The history, this is called The History of Venice's Foundation and Materials by Irene Miller. Gee, I'm sure I can trust that narrative then. How was Venice built? Just looking at her walking the narrow streets and getting a spritz at a bar. So we know who wrote this. You may not reflect on it all that much. She looks very much like any other very old city. The Venice Lagoon is all mud. There is no rock to construct on, not even soil. So if you want to build stone houses and palaces that weigh hundreds of tons, you have to follow an ingenious and thorough strategy. And this strategy will have to be perfectly adapted for the very particular circumstances in the damp, muddy, and wet building place. First settlers back in the 5th and 6th centuries didn't use this technique because their houses were much more basic. Oh, in the beginning, the settlers constructed where I don't care anymore. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow and do it. I'm too tired. I'm done. It takes too much out of me. And I'm bored. So, have a great day. Go watch Hollywoodism. Go get your free download. All that stuff is in the description. And I'll see you later. Pedophiles, kill yourself.